Hey there, curious friend. I'm Courtney, a certified peer support specialist, and welcome to Wonderland Unlocked. In this series, Curious Connections, we're diving into the twists and turns of friendships and relationships, exploring trust, growth, and those unexpected moments in between. Because in the world of connections, nothing is ever quite as it seems, but it's always worth unlocking together. Welcome back to Wonderland Unlocked, where we deep dive into the maze of human relationships, emotions, and self-discovery. Today we're unraveling one of the most painful, yet invisible experiences in relationships: emotional abandonment. Have you ever felt alone, even when you're sitting right next to someone you love? Have you ever poured your heart out to someone only to feel unheard, unseen, and disconnected? Maybe you're in a relationship, romantic, familial, or even a friendship, but it feels like you're on an island, emotionally isolated. That, my dear listeners, is emotional abandonment. In Wonderland, Alice is surrounded by characters: the Mad Hatter, the Treasure Cat, the Queen of Hearts, but none of them truly see her. They talk at her. They give riddles. They vanish when she needs them the most. In many ways, her journey through Wonderland mirrors the experience of being emotionally abandoned, present in body but alone in spirit. Today, we'll explore what emotional abandonment is, why it happens, how it affects us, and most importantly, how to heal and rebuild emotional connection. So take a deep breath, step through the looking glass, and let's begin. Emotional abandonment isn't always about physical absence. It happens when we feel emotionally disconnected, unheard, or neglected in a relationship. It's when you reach out for connection and receive silence. It's when you express your emotions and they're met with indifference. This can happen in romantic relationships when one partner withdraws emotionally, friendships when someone is physically present but emotionally distant, families when parents are physically there but fail to nurture emotional needs. Unlike physical abandonment, which is obvious and concrete, emotional abandonment is insidious. It lingers in unanswered texts, in conversations that never go deeper than surface level, in the subtle ways someone pulls away when emotions get too raw. In Wonderland, Alice constantly seeks understanding, but finds herself surrounded by characters who don't truly see her. It's a metaphor for what happens when we feel emotionally abandoned. We search for connection, but only find distance. But why does this happen? Let's explore. Emotional abandonment can stem from different causes, and sometimes it's not intentional. Here are some common reasons. Unresolved emotional baggage. If someone has their own wounds, childhood neglect, past relationships trauma, or difficulty expressing emotions, they may struggle to be emotionally available. Avoidant attachment styles. People with avoidant tendencies often fear emotional closeness and may shut down when relationships require vulnerability. Distractions and emotional overload. In our fast-paced world, many people are mentally elsewhere, even when they're physically present. Phones, stress, work, distractions pile up, making emotional connection an afterthought. Lack of emotional intelligence. Some people simply don't know how to hold emotional space for others. If they were never taught how to process emotions, they may unintentionally abandon others emotionally. One-sided relationships. Some relationships become emotionally lopsided, where one person gives and the other takes, creating an imbalance that leaves one person feeling alone. No matter the cause, the result is the same. You feel unseen, unheard, and emotionally alone. And over time, this can lead to deep emotional wounds. When we experience emotional abandonment, it leaves scars. It can manifest as self-doubt. Am I too much? Am I asking for too much? Loneliness, feeling isolated even in close relationships. Anxiety, constantly worrying about losing the connection altogether. Emotional numbness. If rejection happens often, we may stop reaching out at all. For me, emotional abandonment felt like standing outside in the cold, knocking on a door that no one ever answered. It made me question my worth, my needs, and my right to ask for connection. But here's the truth. Your need for emotional connection is valid. You deserve to be heard, and you're not alone in this. So, how do we heal? Healing from emotional abandonment is possible. Here's how. Acknowledge the reality. Recognize that your feelings are real. If you feel disconnected, don't just gaslight yourself into thinking it's just in your head. Communicate your needs. Sometimes emotional distance happens because the other person doesn't realize what's wrong. Try expressing your needs clearly. I feel lonely when we don't talk about deeper things, or I need reassurance when I open up emotionally. Observe how they respond. Some people will make an effort to reconnect, others will not. Pay attention whether someone values your emotional well-being or dismisses it. Strengthen your emotional self-reliance. While relationships should be emotionally supportive, relying solely on others for emotional fulfillment can be dangerous. Cultivate self-connection through journaling, therapy, or creative expression. Know when to walk away. If a relationship constantly leaves you feeling unseen and unheard, it may be time to reevaluate. Emotional neglect is just as harmful as other forms of neglect. Not every relationship can be salvaged, but the ones that matter, they will make the effort. Alice's journey was never about changing others. It was about learning to navigate in a world where people often don't offer the connection she craves. In our own lives, we must decide who truly sees us and who only acknowledges our presence, who makes space for our emotions, and who makes us feel like we're too much. The right people will not make you beg for emotional connection. They will not disappear when you need them the most. And you deserve those people. If today's episode resonated with you, I encourage you to reflect. Where have you felt emotionally abandoned in your relationships? Have you expressed your needs clearly? And are you in relationships where emotional connection is mutual? Remember, you are worthy of being heard. You are worthy of deep, fulfilling connection, and you're not alone. Thank you for joining me today. If you found this episode meaningful, I invite you to sit with these thoughts, journal about them, or share this episode with someone who might need to hear it. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind to yourself, and keep unlocking the wonders within.